This film is part of a series about speech clinicians and children and the approaches to language learning. This film is about behavior modification, a specific way of changing verbal and nonverbal responses. Behavior modification involves certain key principles. Some of them are pre-base rate observation, base rate observation, positive reinforcement, primary and secondary rewards, scheduling, negative reinforcement, response contingent removal of reinforcement, and punishment. As in most forms of language therapy, we begin by finding out where the child's at. This isn't always easy. It takes time. Often a child displays many different behaviors or behavioral patterns. The question of where to begin requires probing and thought. Our efforts to find out where to begin are called pre-base rate observation and information gathering. How do we do pre-base rate observation? How do we do our information gathering? We read reports, speak to the parents. We watch and listen as the child behaves.
¿Cómo se disciplina? De vez en cuando le doy su telita. ¿Qué? Ah, sí.
We try to pinpoint specific behaviors that are barriers to language learning or useful for it. In this pre-base rate observation, the clinician records a sequence of events. What's the child doing? What's happening? From this record and from the information sources, the clinician makes decisions about where to start. What changes should take place? What behaviors of the child are constructive for language? Which are bad? Can some be increased together with others? In any approach, there are usually some behaviors which will have to be dealt with separately. Tantrums, for instance, or crying. Once specific behaviors have been selected for changing, for increasing or decreasing, we establish a base rate. Base rate is our basis for measurement. It involves counting how often selected behaviors occur, per unit of time or opportunity. These are numbers. They are our basis for future comparison. While the base rate is being established, no therapy is done. Once we have the base rate, however, we can begin therapy. If we have decided to increase behavior, we can select from some specific techniques.
You say boy. Boy. Good, Sonny. Good for you.
One approach to increasing behavior is positive reinforcement. This means giving rewards. A reward is, of course, something a child likes. There are primary and secondary rewards. Primary rewards are concrete things like candy or a pat on the cheek or a hug.
Okay.
We can also give secondary rewards, such as tokens, stars, or encouraging praise.
Good for you, Sonny. Good boy.
Primary and secondary rewards are often given together.
Good boy, Sammy. Oh, what a good boy. Sit down. Good girl. Good girl, Judy.
There are many ways to increase behavior. We can use scheduling. For example, we can increase behavior by having the patient work harder for the same reward.
Say it for me. Boy. Johnny, say boy. Johnny, from now on you'll have to say boy twice to get the candy. Okay? Can you do that? Can you say boy twice to get the candy? Okay, go ahead.
Boy, boy.
Johnny, from now on you'll have to say boy 3 times to get the candy, okay? Go ahead.
Boy.
Sonny,
We can use
look
modeling.
here. Can you do this?
This is helpful when the behavior never or rarely occurs.
Good, Sonny. Good for you.
Modeling happens when the clinician demonstrates the desired behavior and the child is asked to imitate.
Sonny, can you do this?
If imitation occurs, positive reinforcement is immediately given. Primary reinforcements like candy or a pat on the cheek or a hug,
Sonny, can you do
and
this?
secondary reinforcements like praise or tokens are often used together.
Good girl, Franny. Really, that's real good.
We can also use scheduling here. Negative reinforcement is still another way of increasing behavior.
won't let you go till you stop crying.
Negative reinforcement is the removal of noxious stimuli every time a desired behavior occurs.
Okay.
Noxious stimuli are things the child does not like. For example, restraint.
Come on, quiet down. Come on, you're going to sit here until you quiet down.
You've just seen ways of increasing desired behavior. How about behaviors we want to eliminate?
But every time you turn away, I'm going to take one away from you. Okay?
Some techniques are used to decrease behavior. For example, response contingent removal of reinforcement.
But every time you turn away, I'm going to take one away from you. But every time you're good, I'm going to give you 2 more.
Response contingent removal of reinforcement means removing pleasant stimuli every time the undesired behavior occurs. What are pleasant stimuli? They could be tokens or stars or candy or other things. It depends on the child.
I'm going to give you 2 more. Okay?
Another way to decrease undesirable behavior is by punishment.
No, Johnny. Stop that.
Punishment means informing the child that this behavior is occurring. It does not mean causing pain. It does not necessarily mean causing even distress or discomfort.
Johnny, can you take out the tree?
The principles you have just seen are simply a few samples of the techniques used in behavior modification. There are many more.
Johnny?
We would hope that the innovative speech clinician will learn about this approach, learn more about the principles demonstrated, and those that were not shown. At first, it may be helpful for the student to use these principles exactly as learned, and then develop individual ways to apply them. We sincerely believe that every speech clinician should have available a number of approaches. Not each approach is applicable to each clinician or each child or each situation, but familiarity with as many as possible is strongly indicated. Behavior modification is one of them.